Cookin. I'm your hostess, Cindy Schumacher. On today's show, we'll be making saucy sirloin, grown-up mac and cheese, BLT salad, and a strawberry glazed pie. I'm going to start with the pie because we want it to chill a little bit before we serve. So I have baked a 9-inch pie crust, and I have 3 ounces of cream cheese here that is room temperature. I'm going to beat it up a little bit so it's a little bit fluffy. Now this is going to get spread in the bottom of the pie crust there. So this early in the spring, the strawberries are one of your better fruits and easiest to use, so it's always nice to have a fruit salad, a fruit dessert. So I thought we'd do this one. One thing that this cream cheese does is it kind of helps the fruit from being soaked into the crust so it doesn't get so soggy. Get a spoon to kind of go up those sides a little bit. So it looks like this. Doesn't have to be perfect. So you get the layer of that in. And then I have cleaned and crushed a cup of strawberries. It takes a little more than a cup by the time you get them all cleaned and crushed. So on the stove, we're going to combine cornstarch. I have 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and a cup of sugar. Whisk that together. Now, you gradually pour in a ½ cup of water. I'm going to turn it on a medium heat. And then we're going to stir in the cup of strawberries, and this will give us the glaze. Now the rest of the strawberries, about 5 more cups. This recipe calls for about 6 cups of strawberries. The rest of the strawberries then we'll put on the bottom of the pie, and then we're going to pour the glaze over. So you want to stir this constantly for about 5 minutes until it gets thick and clear. So we'll take a quick break while I'm stirring. We'll be right back.
Blazing fast broadband internet from Valley is now available and better than ever. Let us help you decide which speed is best for you. The 50 meg speed would be sufficient for 1 to 4 devices, mainly emailing and surfing the web. Our 100 meg speed works great for 5 to 8 devices and multiple users streaming and downloading video. If you have 8 devices or more that are simultaneously streaming or gaming, or if you have a medium-sized business, the 250 meg speed would work best for you. For extreme heavy home or work from home use, or if you have a medium to large business using 15 or more devices, you may want to consider our 500 meg download speed to fit your needs. And if you're a home or business that needs it all, we have our 1000 meg, 1 gig broadband internet speed. Call our office today at 437-2615 and talk with one of our staff members to pick the speed that's best for you.
Okay, the glaze is ready, so we're going to put the strawberries in the bottom of the pie plate. You can slice your strawberries finer than I do if you like. I'm one of those people that would rather have things a little bit bigger than so small that they're hard to handle and don't stay on your fork. And so you can do it however you want. Oops, I keep flipping those out. I want to make sure I don't overflow it. Good. And then you just spread your glaze over the top. I'm taking my time so it doesn't run over the edges. And then I would serve this with whipped cream or Cool Whip or whatever you prefer. A dollop when you're serving. Now, if you want a copy of any of these recipes, if you don't have internet, give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to help you with a copy. If you do have internet, go to the Valley homepage. On the right-hand side, you'll see videos, television videos. You click on that, and you'll see the Country Cookin' Cow on the right side. And you click on that, and you'll find all the recipes. So it looks like this. We're going to get it in the refrigerator so it chills. Okay. I'm going to quick throw the salad together and get that out of our way so that can also chill. I have 2 hearts of romaine that I have washed and torn into fairly large pieces. It's just the nature of the salad that it's just a little chunkier. And my tomatoes aren't in yet. If it's tomato season for you, use nice fresh tomato wedges. I'm using grape tomatoes. I have an avocado that I have peeled and diced. I'll sprinkle that over. Actually, if you, this is a BLT salad, so, but some people, if you have avocado in your BLT, it's a BLAT, so avocado in there too. So, just a little information there. I fried 8 strips of bacon and rough crumbled them in bigger chunks so you get a little more flavor, just like you would if you were eating a BLT. If you have a little bit bigger pieces, they're easier to jab with your fork, and it just looks a little jazzier. Okay, so when I was preparing for this show, after you fry your bacon, or I actually cooked it in the oven on a cookie sheet for 400 degrees. It takes about 15 or 20 minutes, and then that bacon grease I use to make croutons. And you're supposed to use a a country style bread. I'm using rye. I found it in the grocery store and it looked kind of good, and so I just tore it into big chunks. I stirred it into the bacon grease, and then I baked them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. And so that's going to give us some more of the bacon, lettuce, and tomato flavor. So we'll just kind of sprinkle those around. So any kind of a heartier bread I would use, and you know, or even a French bread if you have you know, an old loaf of French bread or something. A day old bread works good. And this is 4 ounces of bread that we're using for that. And I think that is everything in there. So we'll make the salad dressing. I'm going to use my little salad mixer and start with a 1/3 cup of mayonnaise. Some freshly ground pepper. I've been buying these little pepper grinders. If you have a good pepper grinder, that's great. I don't. I hope someday that I have one, but I'm just gonna give it a few good grinds in there. You're not gonna need a ton of salt in this because you already have the bacon and you've got the croutons. So, but it calls for kosher salt, so I'm just gonna about a 1/2 of a teaspoon or so. Pinch of sugar. And a 1/4 bunch of chives. My chives aren't in yet, so I had to buy dried chives. And then I'm going to just kind of give that a little bit of a mix. And I'm going to just start to pour in a little bit of the oil, and I'll start mixing. And then we need 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. Get a little bowl here. If you don't have a citrus press, then just go ahead and use your hands. Or you can use the bottled lemon juice if you don't have lemons on hand. Just a little bit more. Okay. Started. Okay, I'm going to add a little more of the olive oil. That's a 1/3 cup. Okay. We're going to put this in the refrigerator so it chills. I'm going to take a quick break and clean up. We'll be right back.
Get 3 months free access on all lines, plus a new 4G smartphone for only $4.99 a month. 2 great offers with Valley Cellular. Call Valley today at 437-2615 to take advantage of this great deal.
Okay, I boiled my pasta. It calls for a pasta called capitelli. I couldn't find any in the store, and so I googled it, and they said to use the rotini. So that's what I've used. I've already got it cooked al dente, and so we're going to drain it. I'm going to run some cold water over it so it doesn't get sticky while we're working. Okay. In my kettle here, I have 3 tablespoons of butter that I'm melting. And to that, once it gets melted, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of flour and whisk that together. This takes a couple minutes here. There's a lot of variations of mac and cheese, and it's getting to be such a popular thing, and it's very trendy right now to do the adult mac and cheese. And this one has more than just like an American cheese or a cheddar cheese that you find in the mac and cheese that you would buy in a box or for your children. So it's kind of fun to serve on the side of a nice steak or something like that. And so that's why I thought we'd introduce you to a little something different like that. Plus, you can actually make it up in advance if you want to, and then put it in the oven when you're ready to bake it. And it's ready fairly quickly, 25-30 minutes or so. Okay, my butter's melted. I'm going to toss in the flour. And we'll let that cook for just a minute, and then I'll start with 1 cup of half and half. Want that to cook down just so it doesn't so that it kind of gets rid of the flour taste a little bit. You don't want it to be grainy. We want it to be nice and creamy. You just stir for about a half a minute here. And this takes a lot of spices, so we're going to start with rosemary, teaspoon, a teaspoon of fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh, I'm using dried, so we cut it about in half. I'll use a half teaspoon. Fresh basil, it calls for 2 tablespoons. I don't have fresh basil yet. I'm anxious for my garden to get in, but we're going to use about half of that. So we'll use 1 tablespoon. The dried spices are always much more concentrated than the fresh ones are. We have an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. An 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg. It always kind of seems weird that you put nutmeg in something that's not sweet, because we use it so often when we bake, but actually a lot of people use nutmeg in their soups and things like that. Actually, even in casnifla in the filling. It's getting nice and creamy. Okay, we're going to add some kosher salt and pepper. You want to be careful with this because it also has bacon and the cheese has salt in it. So don't use a lot or it's going to get overly salty. I'm just going to do just maybe a 1/4 teaspoon to start. We can always add a little more if we need it. And then I'm going to grind in some fresh pepper. And then I'm going to press in 4 cloves of garlic. If you don't have fresh garlic, you can use the one in the jar. Actually, the person that wrote this recipe says not to, but you're still going to get the garlic flavor and everything. So I just happen to have fresh garlic on hand, so that's what I'm using. I'm going to add the rest of the half and half, 2 more cups, a pint actually. I'm going to keep stirring this while it thickens. We'll take a break so you don't have to watch me stir. We'll be right back.
Valley is now offering updated digital TV packages and prices. Ask us about the brand new Choice TV package. Call Valley today at 437-2615.
Okay, my mixture's gotten nice and thick, so now I'm going to stir in my 2 cups of cheddar cheese. This is a sharp cheddar, and that's what the recipe calls for. If that gets a little too strong for you, go ahead and use a medium or a mild. And then I have a half cup of Parmesan cheese. My store was out of the block of Parmesan cheese, otherwise I would have grated it for this just to make it a little more of a gourmet mixture. And just stir it till it dissolves. It's getting nice and creamy, and it's got a little bit of a yellow color from the cheddar cheese. I'm going to toss my pasta in with it. I'm going to toss in I've got 2 or 3 green onions chopped with the tops. I'll just stir those in, give it a little color. And I've buttered a dish. This is actually a bean pot, but I kind of like it for this. I use about half of it in the bottom here. And then we have a cup of mozzarella cheese. I'm going to put about half of that over the top here. Put the rest of the pasta in. Spatula. Then sprinkle the rest of the mozzarella cheese on top. The bacon. Here again, I kind of did the kind of coarse breaking it up, and just makes it a little chunkier. So you actually feel like you've got a piece of meat in your mouth when you're chewing. And then we have some breadcrumbs, some seasoned breadcrumbs. This actually, what I do, if I have leftover bread, like some of my pull-apart bread that's real spicy and everything. I throw it in my blender and grind it up, and then I put it in freezer bags, and it's in my freezer anytime I need seasoned breadcrumbs. And it's so easy, and you know you've got your own good quality. So we're going to put this in the oven at 400 degrees. We're going to bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. I'm going to clean up. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
Okay, we're going to work on the saucy sirloin now. I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I've melted in the pan. So to this now, I'm going to add a cup of green onions that I have finely chopped. This will kind of release the flavor of the onions and make the sauce a little more aromatic. I'm going to crumble a bay leaf in here. Well, this recipe calls for shallots, and it's hard in our area to find shallots, so a substitute for shallots would be onions. So I've got about a half of a yellow onion here that I'm going to toss in and let that cook up. And then if you have fresh thyme, gardens are on thyme this year, you can add fresh thyme to it. It calls for a teaspoon, so I'm going to use a half teaspoon of dried. You just want to cook this for a couple minutes, 2 to 3 minutes or so, just so that the onions start to get a little transparent and all the flavors blend together. I also think that I may add a clove of garlic to this, just for a little extra flavor. This is one of those things that isn't in the recipe, but like I always say, once you make a recipe, make it your own. You know, do what you want to do to it to give it the flavor that you want. I cook with a lot of garlic, so I just think that it's going to be a little more aromatic, add a little more flavor to it. Okay, to this I'm going to add a cup and a half of a dry red wine. This is a Cabernet. Doesn't have to be expensive wine. And you want to cook this until it reduces down by about a third of the volume. So you want it to look like about a cup. So we'll let this simmer a little bit and make the sauce. So I want to remind you again, if you want a copy of any of these recipes, if you have internet, go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net. On the right hand side you'll see the video button. You click on that, you'll see the Country Cooking Cow in the same spot, the right hand side. Click on that, you'll find all the recipes. If you don't have internet, just give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to help you with a copy of the recipe. So while this is cooking, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Internet is here. Valley now has higher broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabit. Get the bandwidth you need for all your devices at one time. Gaming with no lag time. Video stream your favorite movies instantly in HD quality. Video chat with friends and family without interruption. Download your favorite music and photos in seconds. All on our 100% fiber optics network. Valley offers managed Wi-Fi and backup services too, bringing together all the services you need. Valley Telecommunications Cooperative.
Okay, the sauce is reduced, so I'm going to transfer it to a kettle, and we'll just let it sit on the side here. And with this hot skillet now, we're going to sear the steak. I have about 3.5 pounds of sirloin steak. And we're going to go ahead and just put it in the skillet. I've seasoned it with salt and pepper and a little bit of Montreal steak seasoning, just to give it a little flavor base. And you want it to be on high heat. We're going to sear it for a couple minutes on each side until it just starts to get brown, and then we're going to flip it. Otherwise, the grown-up mac and cheese is about ready to come out. We're just about ready to eat because this goes real fast, so we'll be right back. It's seared on the one side. I'll let you see what it looks like that. I flip it over, and we're going to sear it on the other side too. So we can actually start working on the rest of the sauce. To this, now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour, a tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of butter, waiting for that butter to melt in here. And 3 tablespoons of parsley. If you don't have fresh parsley, you can use the dried. Okay, so when you let this sear on high heat for a couple minutes on each side, then you want to turn your skillet down to medium and let it continue to cook just a little bit till you get it to the desired doneness. We like our meat like medium rare, so it doesn't take long to get to that point, but you want to reduce your heat and let it cook until you get to the desired degree that you want. So one more time while we're waiting for this to finish up, I want to remind you that if you want to copy these recipes, and I hope you do, that you would give the Girls of Valley a call if you don't have internet. If you do have internet, go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net, click on the videos, click on the Country Fishing Cow, you'll find the recipes there. I think that we're going to pull out the mac and cheese because you want to let that sit for a few minutes. Looks great. We'll go ahead and cut the pie. And this has only been a short time, and as you can see, it is already set up. If you want to just ensure that you've got enough time. Go ahead and make it up in advance, but it actually set up pretty quickly. If you're using Cool Whip, always give it a stir so it looks a little nicer. Give it a little dollop on top. Go ahead and dish some salad. Transfer the dressing to a bowl. I did taste it a little bit. I got a little too much lemon in there, so I added some mayonnaise and just a pinch of sugar, kind of toned down the lemon, so a little more palatable. I'm going to check one of those and just see the degree of doneness here. Going to give it just a few more minutes. It's just about medium rare. Be right back. We're going to take one of these off to serve. What you want to do then is to slice it on a diagonal and to serve it on the plate. So I'm going to use an electric knife. It's something that my dad has always done out at the restaurant. He's used. So you want to cut it in diagonal strips like this. I'm going to put just a little bit of sauce over the top of it. We're all set. We have the saucy sirloin, the grown-up mac and cheese, the BLT salad, and the strawberry glazed pie. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Country Cooking today. We hope to see you next time.